because it's so good. The fist compression, I want everybody to really focus in on how he's not just pushing his fist, his shoulder, his back, his body is moving as a unit. And then the fist is just part of him as he progresses. What that yields for the client is a kind of depth that almost feels like weight as opposed to force. It's not just somebody kind of punching their knuckles into the body. It's a bigger, deeper movement. Helping you master that is at the top of the list of what I want to help you accomplish.
The other thing is the way that I draped her allows me to go all the way down to the edge of her scapula, and lets that movement complete itself into the table, like punching down into the table instead of into her. And I can actually work in this area because I have her well draped. And it's not too invasive because she has a sense of safety there. So after I've done that I kind of rechange my angle a little bit, and I focus on this. And you'll do these 3 strokes like, I think I remember that it was like this.
There are a number of variations for the anterior arm.
I don't dig in a lot there just because I feel like there's a lot of vasculature there, and the bony structures for attachment and support seem to be more on this side for me. So I don't dig in much here, but I do flush. And this is still sending all of that back towards her heart in this position. So it accomplishes the same goal as the other. And I can even do a flushing shingle. So the way I finish this is I take her to a stretch. And then a way that I change this, but the way I come out of it is I leave her stretched and I just do a little side to side, like a horsey stance. And always staying in contact, like making it fluid. So to do extensors, I always reposition the arm so that it's straight down. When the elbow's down, it changes the angle of your muscles. It changes where the attachments are. So if you move it, you get a nice straight line. So, have you guys done this yet?
Oh no. This afternoon they start up her body.
I keep progressing.
It's our only 3rd week band.
This is good.
Come on. So this is, you'll start in between the knuckles because it's a guide. And put your thumbs together. Okay. And follow. And what I like to do is I do a little thumb wiggle once I get into the muscle tissue because it helps me stay in the groove. And it helps with a little bit of deeper work if there's knots there. Anyway, it doesn't take a lot of pressure here. This is a sensitive area. And if there's knots or tension, it can be painful for them. But all of that, sitting at the computer, everything that we do with our forearms, and you can actually see her muscle coming up.
As you see what Luke is doing, the other thing you see, which you might not recognize, is that when he gets to an area that's restricted, an area of adhesion, an area where he's encountered potentially a trigger point, he actually stops and lingers in that area. So there's never an agenda that the therapist has, like I need to get from here to there, that overwhelms what's actually in the body of the client.
I forgot how hot it was in this room. In my studio, I don't even need my little sweatband thing, but here I had a sweatband like every day. So we're like so warm in here. Usually this middle track is where I find most of the stuff that I find, because people, I don't know, I guess it's the way that, it's the way that they use it, it's the particular area. So, and you can see here the track is like lining up for me. I mean, it's right there. As it goes down.
And heading toward the bony structure that is your lateral epicondyle.
And that's,
Oh, Liz, come on.
and that's part of the reason that I position her this way, because her lateral epicondyle is right here instead of being here. How much easier is it if it's up top? So then a third pass comes up on this side, and the musculature towards the end of this pass can sometimes be a little thicker than the other. There's a little bit more substance there. And even in this area where like the retinaculum is, you kind of want to focus on the mobility.
As Luke tracks up, what you'll see, his right hand is tracking along a ridge of muscle that defines the border between our shoulders and our flexors, which is called brachioradialis. Brachioradialis is a muscle that actually crosses the elbow. So observe how he actually is moving through the end of this stroke, because you come up to that lateral epicondyle, but you actually can flow beyond it, because why? Because that's where the muscle goes.
Because, wow.
Yes.
At the end of all that, I do a little flushing of this area, because you freed up some things. You've got some things moving, and we want to move it all the way. And sometimes their hand starts jerking around, so all you have to do is, if you just take a gentle grip, and you can actually finish the stroke. And then I do hands on the floor. I had one person tell me, I've never known a therapist that gets on the floor like you do. But it's about leverage. It's about what works for you. So what I do with hands is I do 2 fingers at a time, except for the middle one, to save time, because you have to get to their back, and there's going to be all kinds of stuff there. So I do this sort of back and forth motion, and it's just a lean. And you can put your whole body into it. And I switch to these 2. My hands are a little lotiony, so I'll just get that off. But if you ever get too much on you, you can always just wipe it on the table. I mean, you're going to do the laundry anyway, so you might as well use it. And then to combine that with something that you guys, I know you'll be doing, is working on the palm of her hand. So bringing her into like a stretch, and then touch yourself. And I like to go around each attachment here of her actual fingers. And that's basically it for the hand. Unless they need special attention, you could do some reflexology points if you know them. And so how I come out of this is not like that. Is I let this hand kind of come out first, and then turn her over. And right back. At this point, you can close with nerve stroke. You could do more effleurage, or more specific work if you need it. Is there anything else that you want to do on this
Oh, I
side?
was going to say, go ahead, and now we've narrated our way through this one. Perhaps the other side without narration, just showing like the real-time flow of it, and then